What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new YouTube video. We are back home here in Houston, Texas at Corrupted Strength, and I just want to briefly talk about what happened at IPF Worlds.
Flew her out on the first flight, got that pussy the first night. Niggas say it's water and it's on sight. Gang.
So everyone that watched the prep series and kind of understands like the USAPL and the IPF, the last 2 months have been very stressful. So I'm gonna break it down by portions. I'm gonna talk about prep, I'm gonna talk about travel, I'm gonna talk about moments leading up to the meet, and I'm gonna talk about the meet itself, and then plans that I have after the meet. Prep. This prep was one of the worst preps, if not maybe the second worst prep that I've ever had. I think the worst prep I ever had was when I couldn't deadlift for like 8 straight weeks, and I just kind of went into a meet without really deadlifting. But then other than that, this was probably the worst one. And I'll give you the reasons for that. It wasn't because I wasn't physically there. It was more so because I wasn't mentally there. And the fact that there were days where I wasn't even sure we were competing. And then there was a day where specifically we were told that we could not compete. And it was just a lot of back and forth. Yes, we can compete. No, we can compete. And then when we got the answer that we might be able to compete, we weren't even sure if we would be able to get inside of the country because Sweden had just issued a travel ban, and US was on the list, right? So we had to figure out different ways to get into the country, and then we were able to actually solidify a way to get into the country. I think about 2.5, 3 weeks out. That's when I knew for sure that I was gonna actually be able to get into the country and compete. And even though we had that clearance, you just never know what's gonna happen when you actually get into the throes of things. So when I actually put up to the airport, everything was good. We were able to get to the country. But just the fact that I couldn't commit mentally to a meet really hampered the way I came inside of the gym training. I had to have people like Jay hyping me up every single time I was lifting, and I'm never like that. Like I had him screaming at me, yelling at me, getting me going to just like even feel like I was in prep mode. And I remember being 2 weeks out, I was like, oh shit, like I fly out next week to go compete in Sweden. And that leads me to talk about the travel aspect of the meet. A lot of people don't understand, I guess, the toll that international travel takes, number one, on your body, and then number two, trying to perform at a peak level. It is very difficult. So my expectations, not even from prep, but just with travel, were kind of dampened a little bit. Whenever I got onto that flight, right, whenever I bought my flight, it was a 17 total hour travel time, right? So that wasn't even including the train ride that I had to take and the bus just to get to Homestead, Sweden, because Homestead, Sweden is a smaller town and there isn't like a direct flight. You have to take a train and then a bus to get there. We flew, right? I had like a 9-hour flight going into, I think it was Germany, Frankfurt, Germany. We were circling around because of fog, so I ended up missing my connecting flight. I had to have a 4-hour layover, and that kind of like extended things. And I had to have a 4-hour layover, then fly into another. It was just weird, right? So it ended up taking me 24 plus hours to get to my destination. So that messed up my water cut. Couldn't really get the calories I needed in, and I was very sleep deprived. So by the time I arrived to my destination, I was just spent. So I got there, I think I got there Monday night, had Tuesday, Wednesday to kind of recover and get my bearings about me, and then Thursday I competed. So that just takes a huge portion of just like wind out of my sail, right? So let's talk about actual meet day. Actual meet day was almost like a relief. For me, whenever I get to meet day, it's more so just like have fun, showcase all the hard work that you put in during prep, and just kind of let everything go. I weighed in, and immediately, I don't know what and why this happened, but I just started cramping. My hand, I was like refueling and eating rice, and as I was eating rice, like my hand just went to a complete cramp and it just locked up, and I was like, what the hell? I had to physically use my other hand and like pull it out of position, and it started creeping into my forearms, went into my chest. Luckily it didn't get to my legs or anything because we were fresh for squats, but that was an aspect of the meet that I don't think a lot of people knew, and I didn't really tell because it was meet day and we were competing. So squat, it was very strict meet in terms of depth. All I wanted to do was just go 3 for 3, put numbers on the board, stack a total, and break my previous world record on my second attempt, and then kind of set that bar a little bit higher on my third. We were able to accomplish that, and I think squat couldn't have really gone any better. We executed very, very well. I pretty much had undeniable depth, and that was that. So leading into bench, whole body was, my lower back at this point was cramping. So my chest was cramping, my lower back was cramping, and my triceps were cramping, and my forearms were cramping, my hand was cramping. So that's the reason why we only benched 413 pounds. I had a little bit of more juice with me. I probably had like a 424, but I told Isaac after my second attempt, I was like, you know what, baby jump. I don't even want to like push it to where I start cramping up and then like I lose my back for deadlift. So I stayed with the 413. I knew I could get that comfortably and once again build that total. I didn't want to have any missed lifts or any complications to where like my lower back was cramping so much I couldn't perform on deadlift. Deadlift, no complaints. It went very, very well. My hand cramp wasn't an issue to where like I would lose grip. It was more so just like once I let go, it just stayed in this position, which is not that big of a deal. So we opened up pretty light. I think it was like 688 or 683, something like that. Moved well, second attempt moved well. And we had opportunity to kind of push and I think secure the deadlift record. I could have held it. The other guys would have to jump a lot higher to get it. I told Isaac, just go with a comfortable, safe number. I think I hit 325 for my second attempt. And I told him, just go for 335. Very, very safe attempt and something I knew I could hit. Like all I had to do was just go out there and do it. I think I could have hit like a 340, which is only 5 kg more. And I think the world record ended up being 337.5. I think I could have pushed it at 340, 345, like would have been really, really pushing it. But I think I could have did 340 and made it a little bit harder for those guys to kind of catch up and hit that world record, or that, yeah, world record deadlift attempt. So that was that. I just wanted to get out there with an eye for eye performance and kind of match what I did at Raw Nationals. I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering, like, not maybe wondering, but just like Raw Nationals, I totaled 843.5, I believe, and then IPF Worlds, I totaled 841. I adjusted my expectations as to what I was gonna hit for this particular meet. In a perfect case scenario, 850 plus would have been a number that would have been very, very achievable for myself if it was an international meet. But since it was an international meet, it was the IPF, you have strict judging, you have international travel, you have maybe a not so perfect water cut, you have prep not going the way you want it to go. So I adjusted my expectations. I was like, if I can match whatever I did at Raw Nationals, that would be fantastic. And I think we pretty much did that, give or take some things. And a lot of people, I think maybe they watch and they think that every single time you step on the platform, it's gonna be a higher performance than what you did. I think Joey put it perfectly, man. Like he had a story talking about you have to adjust your expectations when you're competing in the IPF. It's a whole different ballgame versus competing on domestic soil for whatever federation you compete at. The USAPL has different standards. It's almost like you have the regular season referees and then you have the postseason referees where they just, it's a little bit different game. So overall, I think IPF Worlds was a huge success. We were able to push the world record total, squat, and that's pretty much it. But we're able to push the world record performance to a higher standard. And I'm very, very happy about that. I'm looking forward to what is going to happen in the future. IPF, I was invited to do a meet that I'll probably talk about much later, which I don't think I'm gonna do. And then we have like nationals for the USVI. I'm not sure if I'm gonna stay in the USVI, and I'm not sure if there's gonna be a US affiliate that's gonna come up under the IPF umbrella anytime soon. So it's gonna be a lot of answers that I'm gonna need to, or there's gonna be a lot of questions I need to answer in the next coming months. We'll attack that whenever it comes. But before I end this video, I wanted to shout out Kimberly Walford and the USVI, which is the United States Virgin Islands. They have really, really thrown me a bone this past competition. They allowed me to have a route to compete, and they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to lift a finger. They didn't have to do anything. So them allowing me to compete in this meet means the world to me, because that allowed me to push for another world championship. So for those of you guys that are from the Virgin Islands, I watched my YouTube video. the USVI has a powerlifting federation, and I don't think they get enough exposure, and a lot of people don't know that. So if you ever want to join powerlifting or start powerlifting, the USVI is a great route to that. And yeah, just reach out to them. They have a website. I'll have it linked in my description box. You guys can check it out if you guys are in the US Virgin Islands. But huge shout out to them. Huge shout out to Kimberly Walford for allowing me to have the opportunity to compete in this meet. And that's pretty much it. So going forward, we'll see what happens. But that's pretty much it. That's my IPF Worlds meet recap. I hope you guys enjoyed the meet recap. And like always, if you guys like today's video, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Get better today. I'm out.
Flew her out on the first flight, got that pussy the first night. Niggas say it's water and it's on sight. Gang, gang. Walking this bitch with